So the 2024-2025 NFL season is officially over, and the Philadelphia Eagles have won the Super Bowl, and they are the champs of the NFL. So today I'm going to be reacting to a video I made about maybe 5 weeks ago, and I gave more than 5 weeks ago, but anyway, it was more like a month ago, and I gave my NFL playoff predictions, and I'm going to be reacting to it and to see how accurate I was with my predictions and see, which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong. So today that's what we're going to be doing. But before we do, if you like sports, editing, and any type of video game, you've come to the right place because that's all I talk about and that's all I upload about. So I would really appreciate it if you did the subscribe button. So let's get into today's video. Alright, here we are. I've got the video up, and yes, I've got a new webcam up here in the corner, and this webcam is just for reaction videos. Then I got my other webcam for my normal videos. So we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to give y'all a little funny story here. I've recorded this video 3 times, because the first time, my mic was muted. The second time, the video was muted the whole time. This is my 3rd time recording this. It's getting annoying. So some of this stuff is repeated to me. So sorry if this video is dry, but this is my 3rd time recording it. But we're gonna get right on into this. All right, let's see here. Starting off in the AFC, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers, which are the 5th seed. Okay, I think this is one of my good picks. I know I made a couple of bad picks though. And so I'm gonna give a little bit of an opinion on why I think this outcome will happen. We're skipping the stupid opinions. Do not like the Chargers because they're a division rival of my team. No, I don't. I don't like the Chargers. I know there's other guys that are better than him, and he's obviously not going to win MVP, but he is a very good quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback in my personal opinion. So with glazing Justin Herbert and the Chargers, as I just did, I still have the Houston Texans winning. And yes, there's a little bit of bias. Okay, first prediction, correct. But I'm pretty sure the next prediction is very bad. I know I screwed up my playoffs a lot in this video. But first prediction is correct. So let's move on to the next prediction, which I believe is the Ravens and Steelers. See, obviously I don't like the place. Baltimore being the 3rd seed, Houston wins. So they're the 4th seed. So, yeah, okay. And then next matchup is the Steelers versus Baltimore, and this is where my hot takes come into place. Oh no, dude, this is terrible. Seed, Pittsburgh being the 6th seed, and both of these teams have been great all season. Baltimore, they were a little bit, but towards the end of the season, both teams really started collapsing there at the end of the season. I mean, they both had very sad playoff losses, but 4 games, they've really revived themselves. The Steelers were just pushing on through every team that came into town. I mean, they just were good, We haven't seen this in a while, ever since Big Ben left. Last year, yes, they made the playoffs, but they were nowhere near as good as they are now. Russell Wilson's really revived his career ever since. Okay, and I mean, Russell Wilson really did revive his career. He did very good. They started falling off, going on a 4-game lose streak or something. I'm not sure there, but Russell Wilson did do pretty good this season. So did Justin Fields. People don't give him enough credit. Denver. Last year in Denver, Russell Wilson did all right. He had the same numbers as Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts was in. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But either way, Russell Wilson, he's been looking bad recently. They've been on downhill. There it is. Yeah. They've been going downhill, and still saying that, I think the Ravens are great, especially with Derrick Henry. He's been a fantastic addition to that Ravens offense. And Lamar Jackson is obviously most likely going to win MVP this year. One of my biggest hot takes of the whole video. No, it's not good, dude. Generic, but I'm going to have the Steelers winning. No. For the 16. Why, dude? When I made this pick, I genuinely thought the Steelers were going to win. And they almost did. They're in the 4th quarter. They started making a comeback. But they ultimately didn't. They lost 28-14. But I actually thought the Steelers were going to win. I was so confident they were. But I mean, clearly now, obviously we know they didn't. So after that bad hot take, let's get out of here and move to the Bills and Denver game. And now we have the 7th seed Denver Broncos. I think this prediction's pretty good. 2 seed Buffalo Bills. this is probably going to be the worst matchup of the whole playoffs.
That's good. It was the worst matchup of the playoffs. I got that part right.
Denver, I think Bo Nix will do good in the first quarter, but then his defense won't help him at all. And then
That's perfect. That's exactly what happened because the Broncos were up 7-0 in the first quarter, and I was genuinely thinking, okay, is Josh Allen about to lose? But then no, the defense fell apart, and there was a bunch of pressure on Bo Nix, and they lost 31-7. So that's a pretty good prediction right there.
will decline throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Buffalo wins.
That's exactly
easily.
what happened.
I think Buffalo will win. Score prediction, I'll say 27-10.
Wow, that's pretty close. The final score was 31-7. All right, this is probably my best prediction. Yeah, this is probably my best prediction of the playoffs. I made some bad picks, so this makes up for it. This is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think Bo Nix and the Broncos will just do fantastic first quarter. Think they have it.
Yeah,
but then just
that's exactly what happened.
Defense can't step up. I know they're coming off a 38-0 blowout versus the Chiefs, but you're playing their backup squad. That shouldn't give you enough momentum.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't really be that excited over a blowout win versus a couple of backup players. Yes, the Chiefs, I think the only reason they lost is because they didn't want the Bengals in the playoffs, which is fair. I mean, the Bengals have beat them a couple
Okay, I'm
times
skipping. This is
and
boring.
They aren't going to win the Super Bowl for a little bit. They still have some learning to do, Commanders.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, no. I thought Jane Daniels was good, but I predicted him to get first rounded because I just thought since he was a rookie, he wasn't ready. But, oh, yeah, this is really where it gets – this is where it really gets bad, like, honestly.
But, yeah, I've got Buffalo winning 28-10.
Pretty close.
So then let's see here. So Houston versus Buffalo will
No.
be the divisional round, and then
It's terrible.
Steelers versus Kansas City will be the other divisional round. Kansas City obviously first round bye and being the 1 seed. So now we're going to move over to the NFC.
Let's see how I do in my
And
NFC.
so we're going to start off with the 5 seed Minnesota Vikings, and they have 14 wins. And
It's already getting bad because I already know who I chose. Some of these picks I don't fully remember, but I'm pretty sure this one's really bad.
they're the 5th seed. That's hard to believe. But
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
hard
the
to believe.
Division winners work, and that's how the seeding works. I was kind of stunned when I started watching football myself. But 5th seed, 14 win.
Who
Minnesota
cares?
Vikings versus the 4th seed, Los Angeles Rams. And there's a lot of teams from the same division in this year's playoffs. I'm realizing that now. But anyway,
No one cares. Get to the prediction, my gosh.
not to get off track, but if you know, the Vikings and Rams played earlier on in the season, and
They did.
it was very controversial.
Yeah, I mean, as I mute it, it was very controversial. Honestly, it was. So,
A couple of times.
I mean, I
There's
get where I
no
was coming
bad
from.
calls
I
in
genuinely
favor of
thought the Vikings were
Rams.
going to do good.
But I think if none of that happens, I mean, I think the Rams are an amazing team. I honestly think they are a dark horse to win the Super Bowl. I
Yeah,
honestly do.
they were.
Matthew Stafford's very good. He's a top 10 quarterback. He's just very good. And then Puka Nacua is insane. He's just a
Yeah.
bundle of highlights, dude. This year he's had so many amazing catches. And then Cooper Kupp, he was injured a lot this season, but it's still Cooper Kupp. He's amazing. It's Cooper Kupp's amazing. But ultimately, I have the Vikings win. I honestly think
No, the Vikings sold so hard in this game. They did absolutely terrible. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. So this is another terrible pick. This is a terrible pick I made. So right now I'm what, 2 for? I don't even know. I'll give the final tally at the end, I guess. So let's move on to the next wild card match.
we've got the 6th seed Washington Commanders versus the
I'm sorry for pausing so much, but this is another terrible, terrible pick I made. I like looking on it now, I don't know what I was thinking, but at the time, I understand why I made these picks. So I'm just gonna have to suffer through this real quick.
They were looking a little sloppy there recently, towards midseason, but yet their star receivers, both of them, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, were out. Mike Evans obviously
Yeah, true.
came back recently. I don't think it was last week, but a couple weeks ago, and he's obviously been amazing. But even when they didn't have some of their star players, Baker Mayfield really showed up. And
Okay, yeah, that's true. I got that
kinda
part
tells
right.
me they're a really good team. So
They were.
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
Tampa winning. I think Jaden Daniels is obviously the rookie of the year, and that
He
team
was.
is obviously
He was.
fantastic. It's pretty much just the Houston Texans last year. You know
Okay, yeah, pretty much it really is. Just the Texans couldn't beat the 1 seed last year. The Commanders actually did. So that's what
what I'm saying?
makes it different,
You
I guess.
draft a very good quarterback with the second overall pick. Your team was mediocre last year, but y'all are just, for some reason, just vibing now. But I still have the Tampa Bay
True.
Buccaneers winning, especially if they're all healthy, which they should be.
Oh, no. As you know, the Commanders won, I think it was 26-23, if not 23-20. One of those scores. They won by a field goal. Jaden Daniels played amazing, but so did the Bucks. They had a couple of fumbles there on their last drives that really sold them the game. But I understand why I made that pick, but looking back on it now, I would have never made that pick. So let's move on to the next matchup, which should be Green Bay at Philly.
Game. And then next, we've got the 7th seed Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, okay. I know the Packers didn't do good in this game, but they were the 7th seed. Like, honestly, it was so surprising that they got the 7th seed when they did so good during the regular season. But let's hear my prediction.
Versus the 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles. And the Packers are arguably some people would say top 5. That's kind of pushing it, but they are definitely a top 10 team. One of the best teams in this year's playoffs. And yes, they are only the 7th seed because obviously Minnesota and Detroit are both in, and both of them are in the same division as Green Bay. Once again, that's how the playoffs work. If it was based off a record, they would probably be the 4th seed. But anyway, 7th seed Green Bay versus 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles. And as much, I want Green Bay to win this, but dude, the Eagles are so good.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devon
Yeah, we figured out that the Eagles are really good.
Smith.
They won the whole
and, of
Super
course,
Bowl,
Saquon
dude.
Barkley. Personally, I think he is the MVP, but we're not going to get into that.
Fair.
But they're just so good. Their offense is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing, and I don't think
They were good.
no matter
Really
how
good.
the Packers' defense is, I don't think the offense will step up as much as they need them to. So I
And
will
it
have the
didn't.
Philadelphia
This is another really good pick.
Not necessarily a blowout, but I think
Doesn't
it's a
help my
large one,
terrible picks,
20.
though.
So, I mean, some people would consider that a blowout. I don't. That's only a 2-score win. So, anyway, I've got Philadelphia going on to the next round. So, it'll be the 5 seed Minnesota Vikings versus the number 1 seed Detroit Lions.
Oh, that part is terrible. I think, I don't know. Let's hear it out.
And then the next matchup
Is the
Philadelphia.
Bucks and Eagles. Yeah, my NFC's pretty much, it's destroyed unless I didn't have the Eagles going all the way. So, my NFC side of the bracket is already cooked. The AFC side is good for the most part, but let's hear it out. Let's go to the AFC divisional.
But let's go back over to the AFC and get those divisional rounds out of the way. So we're going to start off with the 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs versus the 6 seed Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, so I had the Chiefs going to the conference championship game, which was right, but I had them playing the Steelers, which obviously they played the Texans because the Steelers lost. So that part's wrong. But I did good on having the Chiefs go. So let's hear out what I had to say about it, though.
And yes, they played during Christmas, and the Chiefs were amazing. Till the fourth
That's
quarter,
true.
they
The Chiefs
slowed down a
did do
little bit.
very
But,
good.
I mean, at the same time, when you're up by 3 scores, you kind of can slow down a little bit. So I think, once again, I mean, you're playing at Arrowhead. It's playoffs. The Chiefs always seem to be great during the playoffs.
Yeah,
So I
true.
don't think you're really stopping Mahomes, especially
Unless they're in Super Bowl
the
59.
Steelers. You just get off a win from Baltimore, but you've got to be tired. Baltimore's a tough team, even with a week, and you go against the defending
understand my
Super Bowl
predictions here.
champions, and they're obviously the best team in the NFL this year. And I think the Steelers will lose. I think the Chiefs will win 27-13. Sorry.
Pretty good prediction. I'm almost positive the Chiefs beat the Texans 27-13. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did. But anyway, let's move to the Bills and Texans matchup I had.
We got the 2 seed Buffalo Bills versus the 4 seed Houston Texans. As much as I love C.J. Stroud and as much as I want C.J. Stroud to win here, it's not happening. The Bills.
Okay. Got that part
you're
right.
Not beating the Bills, especially Josh Allen. He's obviously an MVP candidate, and he possibly could win it. Lamar
He
Jackson
did win it. He
might
did win
lose to
MVP.
him. But the Texans, I don't think, are ready for a Super Bowl. Maybe
No, they're really not. The Texans really aren't ready for a Super Bowl. So, I mean, this prediction here is good, but obviously the Bills played the Ravens instead of the Texans. But I got the Bills winning, so I got the Bills versus Chiefs AFC Championship right. So my AFC was all right, but my divisional round sucked pretty much
2 more years.
because all of
You
those
gotta
were
build up
wrong.
that
Matchups
roster
were
just
wrong.
A little bit more, and then you'll be there.
NFC's
But
already
I think
cooked.
the Bills will beat the Texans and move on to the AFC Championship. Score prediction, I think it'll be 38-26. Kind of a blowout.
That's a pretty good score prediction, honestly. Okay, now let's see my NFC divisional, even though it's cooked.
I said from the start a couple years ago. But let's move back to the NFC. We got the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. As much as I want the Minnesota Vikings to go to the Super Bowl, I know it will not happen because
It
I
didn't
said
happen.
from the start of this season, and actually I made a post about it at the end of last year's Super Bowl. I've said all year that the Detroit Lions will go to this year's Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59.
No, nope.
Kind of spoiled my predictions there, but
Yeah, you
I've
did.
got the Detroit Lions.
You made me remember that I
beating the
did
Minnesota
terrible.
Vikings. As much as I want the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl, nobody's stopping Detroit.
I understand, and I remember all my predictions and why I made them, but that's I don't know what happened to Detroit, honestly. They played a good game. Jared Goff threw some picks, but they played a good game. They just could not stop Jaden Daniels. They truly could not. Oh, that sucks. I truly thought it was going to be Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl. I said that the whole offseason all year. So, yeah, I guess move on to Eagles-Bucks now.
Then we've got Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay did beat Philadelphia in the wild card last year.
They
And
did.
it wasn't even close. Philadelphia looked terrible. But
Yeah, that's true.
was
Philadelphia
optimist.
looked terrible, and they had the same roster as when they went to the Super Bowl 57. And then all they did was pretty much just add a running back and lose a couple of pieces, and they won the Super Bowl. Confusing, but that's legit NFL. It doesn't make sense half the time.
Changed so much, but so has the Buccaneers. But still,
True.
I've got the
Bucks made a
Philadelphia
couple
Eagles
of
winning.
moves.
I
Okay,
think
I got that part. I got the Eagles to the NFC Championship. So, I mean, that part's correct.
it'll
Proud
be
of that,
more
I
of an
guess.
offensive battle. I think defense will step up more towards the fourth quarter, but still, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles
Fair.
winning. I've got them winning 31-25. So Philadelphia Eagles move on to the NFC Championship.
Okay, that part is really good. So now I think I get my conference championship. Then we'll see the Super Bowl. I know the Super Bowl's already wrong because I had Chiefs-Lions.
Let's go back over to the AFC Championship. Bills versus Chiefs. And as we know, these two teams have a history. Josh Allen always
True,
beats
they do.
Mahomes in regular season. Mahomes always beats Allen in the postseason. And last year, they played in the divisional, and they played in the divisional 2 times. And now I'm predicting they'll play in the AFC Championship 2 times.
I got that part right.
So, once again, I think Allen will not get over the curse of beating Mahomes, and Mahomes
that
will
right.
ultimately win again and go back to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in a row. And I think this will be a great game. I honestly do. It's either going to be a great game or a defensive battle. Last year, it was more towards a defensive battle. They kind of scored
True.
a little bit more towards the end, but second to third quarter, more of a defensive battle. But I've got the Chiefs beating the 2 seed Buffalo Bills, and I've got a final score of 48-33.
Wow, I had a big score prediction, and the Chiefs did score 30. I think the Bills had like 25 or 27. But, I mean, that's honestly a pretty good score prediction. Obviously, I got that right. Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. I said that all year because they're my team. So I got that. I did the AFC. I got the AFC not fully correct, but I got, key parts of it correct. Besides the Steelers and Ravens, I don't know what I was thinking when I said that. But, yeah, pretty good predictions for the AFC. So, wow, I just paused it on this really goofy photo. I'm getting exposed. Let's move to the NFC Conference Championship.
So I've got the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl.
Got that
And then
right?
We've got Detroit versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
Detroit didn't
Beat
even make
Mahomes again,
the
trying to
NFC
get
Championship.
revenge ever since what happened in Super Bowl 57.
They were one and
But
done.
that will not happen. The Detroit Lions are mad about what happened last year in the NFC Championship. So they will go to the Super Bowl for the first time in Detroit
That's
Lions
terrible.
history. And the final score will be 33-32.
Yeah, so my Super Bowl prediction was wrong, which I was very surprised. I thought Detroit was definitely going all the way. But yeah, the Eagles went all the way instead of the Lions. So the Lions did not make the Super Bowl. So in real life, it was Chiefs, Eagles. I had Chiefs, Lions. So now let's look at my Super Bowl. I know I got that wrong though.
Now, Detroit versus Kansas City, Super Bowl 59. And I think the final score will be 24-21. And I think it will go into overtime. And I think this will be
This is
one
my
of the
Super
best
Bowl?
Super Bowls we've had in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, Super Bowl 57 was a great Super Bowl. Super Bowl
That's
58
true. That's one of my
was
favorites.
weird.
That is my favorite Super
Last
Bowl
year's
of all
Super Bowl,
time.
I think it will be one of the best Super Bowls of all time, possibly top 5. But we're not going to get into that. I'll rank Super Bowls after this year's Super Bowl. So that's a little video idea for me. I just made one up. So that's great. But that
Oh my gosh. My editing was so
is my
cheeks.
playoff predictions. I wanted to do this before any game happened.
All right. That's my predictions. Wow. Okay. Starting off with the AFC, I did pretty good. Got the AFC Championship right, and I predicted who would win the AFC, which was the Chiefs. NFC was a complete disaster. I think I got every single wild card matchup wrong, except for one. I got every divisional round one wrong, except for one, and then the conference championship I got completely wrong. And then Super Bowl matchup, I had the Chiefs winning. The Chiefs didn't even win. So yeah, my playoff predictions this year, they sounded good at the time, but looking back, these were terrible. But I mean, I love doing this. I'm gonna plan on doing this every year. So I'm gonna make the outro real quick. I'm gonna get this off, and then we're gonna go to the outro.
We do not care.
All right. So that was me reacting to my playoff predictions, and yes, they were not that good, but I still had a lot of fun recording this video, even though I recorded it like a million times, but it was still fun doing it, and I appreciate y'all for watching. It was just super fun, and I'm going to plan on doing this every year for the playoffs, and I'll try and do this for regular season too. I kind of just now thought of it and got the idea right before the playoffs. So I'll try and do this for like almost anything sports-wise. But I really appreciate y'all for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and I will see y'all later.